Castration is the surgical removal of a man's testicles. It is definitely an illegal and painful process. In today's video, we're going to talk about Bob Lee Allen, who along with his partner illegally performed painful castrations and then left the patients to die and used to eat men's balls. How did Bob do it all? How did he get his clients? Why did he do it all? All these questions will be answered in this video. It was August 14th, 2020, and everything was going as normal at the McAllister Regional Hospital in Oklahoma. And suddenly, there was some commotion in the hospital. A man came into the hospital who was not able to walk properly and was bleeding profusely from his groin area. His clothes were also red due to the blood. The man was screaming in pain. Other patients in the hospital were shocked to see what had happened to him. Doctors and other medical staff immediately called him into a room to administer first aid. The doctors were shocked to see that both of the man's testicles had been removed and that the surgery had been performed very poorly. The man was bleeding continuously and was in agony due to the intensity of the pain. While giving first aid, the doctors eased his pain and stopped the bleeding. In no time, the man regained some normality and was able to speak. The doctors asked this person how all this happened to him. The man said he tried to perform the surgery on himself and was injured as a result. The doctors were not ready to believe the man because they knew that it was not possible to perform such a surgery on one's own. The doctors asked the man to tell the truth so that he could be helped. Being afraid, this person started telling the truth, but the doctors were surprised when they heard it. The man said that 2 people operated on him and removed his testicles. Initially, the doctors thought that someone might have kidnapped the person and forced the castration on him, but it was not so. The man said that the surgery involved his consent and that the surgery was not done in a clinic or hospital, but in a house in a secluded area. On hearing this revelation, the doctors were forced to inform the police about this as soon as possible. But the man prevented the doctors from telling the police. He said, "If the police come into this matter, I will be killed and maybe my family too." The police received a call from the hospital which said the following: "I have a patient here. He is under threat that if he reports what really happened, he will be killed." So basically, for free, he had a castration done that was live streamed by someone in Wister, Oklahoma, and the revenue that this guy gets is from his website's live streaming. As soon as the phone call ended, a police team rushed to the hospital for investigation. The police asked the man to tell them everything in detail. What happened to him, and how did it happen? The man said that he wanted to undergo castration for personal reasons and kept searching for it on the internet. While searching in September 2020, he came across a website offering free castration. He said that when he tried to contact the website, he was connected to a man named Bob Lee Allen. Bob said that he would perform the castration surgery at his home for free. At first, he thought Bob was a scam, but Bob showed some videos in which he had castrated many people before and explained his skills. After watching these videos, he believed Bob and booked an appointment for castration. After that, he spoke to Bob on Skype and discussed all the details. But he still had a question in his mind. Why would anyone give their time and expertise for free? How can Bob perform this surgery for free? These questions were running through his mind when suddenly Bob put some of his conditions in front of him, which gave him answers to these questions. Bob's first condition was that Gates would accompany him during the surgery. Gates was Bob's husband. Yes, Bob and Gates were both gay and married. Both of these men were quite active on social media and used to post videos of their daily work on social media. Bob's second condition also made it clear why he was performing the surgery for free. Bob stipulated that he would not take money for the surgery, but he would live stream the whole operation on his website so that he could earn money from the stream. Bob's terms seemed strange to him, but the castration was being done for free, so he agreed to all of the terms. The man further told the police that on that appointed day, he took a flight ticket and reached Dallas. Bob was also there to receive him at the airport. Bob met him very nicely and took him to his car. The man said there was an object hanging from the back of Bob's car that looked like a man's balls. Perhaps Bob intended for his vehicle to convey that he was the expert for the job. After that, they sat in the car and left for Bob's house. Bob lived in a wooded area, and his house was like a log cabin. It had a small room and a bathroom. There was also a big freezer in the house. On reaching the home, the man was given a bedroom by Bob so that he could rest. Bob told him that his operation would start at 5 p.m. so he could sleep until then. At exactly 5 p.m., Bob, joined by his partner Gates, began preparing for the operation. They laid the man down on a wooden bench and started checking their tools. Now, the surgery was just about to begin. The police wanted to know how the two performed the surgery. The victim said that when he was laid down, Bob wiped his groin area thoroughly and administered an injection of anesthesia or some other numbing medicine. But the quality of the anesthesia may not have been that good because he was conscious when the surgery was being performed. Both were engaged in the operation for about 2 hours and removed his testicles. The man told the police that while the two were operating, he received a cut in his pelvic area which was bleeding continuously and he was screaming in pain.
According to court records, a 28-year-old victim told hospital staffers Bobby Allen and Thomas Gates had surgically removed his testicles.
When he made too much noise, Bob silenced him, telling him that he was a cannibal and that he was going to freeze his testicles and eat them later. Bob also told him about his old patient to scare him. He said that a patient had come to him earlier and had received a similar cut, but he was crazy. Bob left his cut open as a punishment and he died of profuse bleeding. After the operation, Bob laid the man down again in the bedroom. The man was screaming in pain and fainting repeatedly due to the bleeding. After regaining consciousness, the man begged Bob to take him to the hospital or he would die. Bob flatly refused to take him to the hospital. The man was writhing in pain and was about to die. After some time, Bob had a change of heart and agreed to take him to the hospital. Bob put him in his car and left for the hospital. The man was screaming in pain all the way, which made Bob furious. He angrily told him that if he died on the way, he would dump his body in a wooded area. Hearing this from Bob, he got scared and stopped screaming in pain. Bob stopped the car outside the hospital and told the man that if he told anyone anything about Bob and Gates, he would not only kill him, but also all of his loved ones. The man then asked Bob, if the hospital staff asked me how I got this wound, what should I tell them? You say I did it to myself, Bob said. Upon saying this, Bob left him outside the hospital and ran away. That's why the man was initially lying to the hospital staff and doctors, because he was afraid that Bob would kill him if he told the truth. The man had now given all of the information to the police, and now it was the responsibility of the police to catch Bob and Gates as soon as possible to save more people from their cruelty. On October 15, 2020, the police issued search warrants for Bob and Gates, and various police teams began searching for the two. The police first reached the spot where the man had told them about the alleged surgery. Bob's house was located in this secluded area. When the police entered the house, Bob's car was not there and no one was home. The police thought that Bob and his partner might have run away after seeing them. When the police found Bob's house, it was a small cabin-like home, and to their surprise, the police found that Bob also listed the house as a vacation house on Airbnb. He had also posted a video of his house in which he was showing off the rooms and bathroom. He was charging $45 for a night's stay in this house. Upon entering the house, the police saw a large freezer filled with plastic bags. On getting closer, the police realized that these bags contained meat. Everyone was alarmed and thought these bags must either contain human-extracted testicles or human flesh. But when the bags were opened, the police's guess proved wrong. These bags contained animal meat that Bob had frozen to eat. Police found various drugs during a search of Bob's home. Most of these drugs were those used during the operation. Apart from this, the police also found surgical tools which Bob used to operate on people and remove their testicles. They also found a tall cabinet full of various medications, medical utensils, mushrooms and pill bottles, and other surgical tools. Upon further search, the police found several videotapes. The police were shocked to see those videos. It was clear in these videos that Bob and Gates had castrated many people before, and there was a video of every patient. Apart from this, the police also found videos related to the normal lives of Bob and Gates, but one video was surprising to the police. In the video, Bob could be seen standing next to a tree and making strange movements while Gates was filming him. From Bob's actions, it seemed that either he was drunk or his mental state was not right. The police collected all the items found in Bob's house as evidence and left. But now the question arose, where did Bob and Gates go? It was very important for the police to find these two because if they were to escape the hands of the police, someone else would be their victim in the future. But the police did not have to work hard to find them. When the police came to Bob's house, Bob and Gates did not run away when they saw the police, but they did not even know that the police had come to their house because they thought that the person would never tell the police. Before the police arrived, the two left for the hospital to find out if the man they operated on was alive or dead and whether or not he had told the police. As they reached the hospital, a police team was already there and both of them were arrested. In the initial investigation, both refused to confess and said that they had nothing to do with the castration, but luckily, the police had all the videos and other evidence that both of them could not deny. After the arrest, both trials started and the police presented all the evidence in court. There were serious charges against both of them. Bob was accused of performing illegal surgery, possessing illegal drugs, illegal castration, and eating human flesh, while Gates was accused of cooperating with Bob in all of these activities. The bail amount for both was set at $295,000, which was impossible for both of them to pay. Both were to be sentenced to life in prison for these crimes, but their sentences could have been reduced if they had taken a plea deal. During the trial, Gates testified against Bob to reduce his sentence, telling the court that all the allegations against Bob were true and that he had been performing illegal surgeries for a long time. Bob then had two options. He could either let the trial go through and face a life sentence, or he could take a plea deal and get his sentence reduced. Bob knew that if the trial went any further, his chances of survival were slim. It was better to take a plea deal than to spend the rest of his life in prison. Bob pleaded guilty and took the plea deal. After taking the plea deal, Bob's life sentence was reduced to 2 years in jail and 10 years in prison. He was also fined $5,000, and as a result of the plea deal, Gates' sentence was overturned and he was released. So another tale of crime comes to an end. Bob is going to spend the next 12 years in prison, and many people have lost their testicles, but there is a lesson for us all in this incident. Never do illegal things or fall into the hands of people who do illegal things. Remember that surgeries are always done by professional doctors and that such surgeries are never done at home but in a hospital. Castration is not a good practice for humans. It can result in many diseases and harm. So, if you have such a problem, avoid this process and consult your nearest doctor.